Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to the studio, people. It is me, Jason Gooner, and we are back to discuss the EPL match week number 21. It was a midweek set of fixtures. We had one game Tuesday, 8 games on Wednesday, and one more today. And of course, we're here to break it all down. We have the reveal of the score predictions table for the week, and we're gonna have the champion and the donkey revealed for this week. Also, we're going to check in with the FPL, see if we made a bounce back or not, because trust me, we had a rough couple of weeks where it wasn't looking so good. But put our head down this week and we're going to see if we did, in fact, steady the ship for the season. So, yeah, a lot of talking points this week. Interim managers getting a chance. Um, you know, title contenders all kind of stumbling basically. Nobody able to get 3 points this week. So as is the custom this week, everybody who side get 3 points. If you're in the building right now, please do put a big 3 in the comment section. But I think DJ Gigs might be onto something because everybody side look like they can get 1 point this week. If you support Chelsea, you got a point. If you support, sorry, you never get nothing if you support Chelsea. I apologize. All the Chelsea, all the Chelsea. Side note, Jason, did JFF reinstall the women coach? I have not seen any actual news on that as yet. I know that I had heard something about there being meetings going on to discuss whether he was going to continue in the role, but I have not seen any kind of press release or heard anything official about a weight name that about what the plan is going forward. So yeah, don't want to speak on that because I don't really think that it's happening just yet. Yeah, but yeah, don't know much about that, but man from Portland, I am compiling all the data because I have a show coming this weekend. We're gonna dive into all the topics: senior men's national, senior women's, youth teams as well. Yeah. Richard Green, Wagwan, the downward spiral has started. Sorry, but next year will be Arsenal year. Yeah, Richard, big up yourself. Saw you earlier today on the IMAX stream. Had a lot to say, But look, we're going to break it all down, see if it's really doom and gloom time, if it's just the start of another cycle for Arsenal where it's a case of what if and what could have been. But I do think tactically it was a masterclass by Slot. You have to give credit where credit is due. I think he had a much clearer tactic of how to shut down Arsenal than we did of shutting down Liverpool. And once he came out of the tactic in the first half, which was a mid to low block, and he decided to apply more pressure, it really made us look very ordinary in possession. So kudos to Arne Slot. I think tactically he got the job done, and I think Arteta didn't have the answers. Defensively, as is the norm for Arteta these days as a coach, he had the answers. But in terms of breaking down the other team's defensive strategy, he struggled mightily today. So we're going to break that down in detail as we talk about all the games. But first things first, people, drop your threes in the comment section if you say I get 3 points. And I dare you. Whoever put a 3, I'm going to call you out and say which side they support. I mean, look at all the quote unquote favorite teams people support. Man City did not get 3 points. Arsenal did not get 3 points. Liverpool did not get 3 points. Chelsea did not get 3 points. United did not get 3 points. Pretty much most of the teams that got 3 points this week, I would struggle to find anybody that watched my show week in, week out. DJ Giggs dropped his 3 points. So, DJ Giggs, I didn't know that you were a Newcastle fan. I didn't know that you were a Brentford fan. I didn't know you were a Nottingham Forest fan. Actually, maybe. No, you aren't the one that became a Forest fan after this show. There's somebody that picked Nottingham Forest last season. I can't remember his who. Then probably will let me know in a minute. Bournemouth, maybe. So which side you support? About three. DJ gigs are easy, you know. Just right 3 points. Yo, people, remember like, share, and subscribe. Let me just put the reminder on the screen. You guys, please do that for me. It's extremely important, you know. It's also free. So it's the least you guys can do. Where's the yeah. All right. So let's my left side and right side. On Muslim side, the rest of them get 3 points every day. From your move. All right, boss. Don't say a word. All right, so look, we're not hitching up people. We want to get through the content, we want to get through the show. I hope everybody having a great week so far. I'm having a productive one. Back in the groove of life and school and after school activities and all them things there. Yes, but it's a joy because we know that it's all a means to something. You know, the kids gonna reach somewhere and they need that road and pathway to get where they need to get. And we just lay the foundation as best we can. So onwards and upwards, people. But let's get into the EPL content now. This week was a madness. Some good games. You know, it was a struggle. Let me tell you, people, it was a struggle to get everything done properly as far as predictions for everybody. This is maybe the first time I can ever remember that nobody that played this week had a winning record for picks. Nobody. Not even one person. Not even a 500. So that's to tell you, this week was a difficult one to forecast. You know, a lot of last minute goals, you know, injury time after the 88th minute, you know, a lot of action, goal mouth action in a lot of the games as well. You had red cards, you had everything in this week. You know, you had a game that was supposed to be probably the showpiece for the week. Arguably was the least exciting game. You know, there was another 0-0 this week, Crystal Palace and Villa, but I thought there was way more goal mouth action in the Palace Villa game than the game today. So, kind of anticlimactic if you ask me. But yeah, let's just go through them one by one. First game was the game on Tuesday. That game had West Ham, the Irons, hosting Nottingham Forest at the London Stadium. And this game, let's just get everything on screen so you can see the information. Big up Rob Smith in the building. Big up to Sherman Scott, one done in the building. Anybody who we don't see since the turn of the year, Happy New Year. Hope everything is going well for you and your family and all the best as we go into the new year, you know? All right, so this one ended 2-1 to Nottingham Forest and setting the theme for the week. Morgan Gibbs White with a late penalty after he was fouled on a corner kick. Probably the first controversial situation of the week. I'll just ask the question blatant outright. If you watch this game, saw the highlights of this game, do you agree with the penalty call, Areola fouling Gibbs White on the cross? Do you guys think that should have been given as a penalty? On the field, it was not called as anything. VAR instructed the referee to go and take a look. And upon further review, he gave the announcement that the goalkeeper from West Ham fouled the player number 10, Nottingham Forest. And after that announcement, it was given as a penalty. So Gibbs White stepped up himself, composed himself, and buried it to give them the 2-1 win. And it's just one of those days for Nuno. And let's just take a look at, before we look at the stats or anything, I want to look at the lineup. So They had brought in Tati Castellanos. If you follow the MLS at all, you will know him from New York City FC a few years back, leading goal scorer in the MLS in his time there. Since he had moved on to Europe before coming to West Ham the other day, um, he would have gone to Lazio in 2023 for 15 mil, and Lazio basically doubled their money, sold him to West Ham on the 4th of January for 29 mil. And Tati Castellanos is a player that I think has attributes that can make him successful in the Premier League. Always a good close control player, very good at holding the ball up, and he's a very hard-working forward as well. So in the hard-running Premier League, I think he has the physical traits to fit in and not have the game go by him. But I think he's just falling into a situation at West Ham where it's a lot of doom and gloom. So it's going to be very tough for him to make any kind of mark. And the first thing he's going to have to do is try to keep this team up in the Premier League, because right now it's looking very, very bleak for West Ham staying up this season, you know? Seem like this might really be your year. Teams that stop score for Arsenal. Which team was surprising and disappointing based on performance this week? Surprising performance of the week, I would have to probably give that to Brentford. Surprising in the sense that they were so dominant. You know, Sunderland didn't really. They had some like a set piece opportunities where they came close and whatnot, but runner play, you know, Brentford really dominated the chances and everything. So I would say Brentford was surprising to me how they dominated. And then disappointment of the week, I would say that it's probably down to the three teams that going for the title right now, probably tied. Arsenal, City, and Villa, because I think, you know, Villa had their chances, yes, but I don't think they did enough in the game against Palace. And if you ask me, Palace had some of the clearer cut chances in the end, you know. And then when you look at the Man City and Brighton game, you know, you could say that could have gone either way towards the end. I mean, City came closer. So you probably have to say City looked more likely at the end of the game. But the fact that they weren't able to find that goal and get the 3 points would be disappointing at home, especially to Brighton. And then when you look at the Arsenal game against Liverpool, I mean, in the first half, Liverpool is sitting back and just daring us to throw the kitchen sink. And, you know, we didn't even have a sink or a kitchen. We never have anything to throw. So I would say the three teams that are closest to what looks like being the title winners in Arsenal, City, or Villa, I would say they equally were disappointing. None of them really, you know, put on a claim, state them claim and say, yeah, we're really going for this title. You know, they all kind of fell flat. Happy New Year to you and yours. Yeah, man, big up yourself, Rob. Man thinks he's boxing. Yeah, man, throw the kitchen sink. We never have nothing for throw. Metaphorically speaking, you know. Henry got his game back. Yeah, Rico Henry back in there, playing every week. Well, not every week, but him start, I think it's now 3 out of the last 5 or 4 out of the last 6, something like that. So that's a good look. All right, so this was the starting lineup. As I said, Castellanos came over. He started right away. You know, obviously they're having a huge hole in the forward line. They have Callum Wilson around, but Fulkrug has been sent away, you know, injured a lot, barely available. Callum Wilson wasn't available for this game either. I don't know what's going on with him. And of course, Wan-Bissaka and Juf, the left and right back, playing at AFCON into the quarterfinal phase now, which I think should play tomorrow, or maybe Saturday is the next set of games. I have to check. But yeah, West Ham, throw him in the starting lineup right there. You know, Scarles, Todibo, Mavropanos, Walker Peters, looking at that, don't look the best. You know, Forest on the other hand, their defense getting stronger, looking more like what it looked like last season. In fact, that's basically the back line and goalkeeper that had, I think it was equal clean sheets with Arsenal last season. So a little more solid around there. Elliot Anderson has been a rock in the midfield, whether it's Dominguez with him or Sangare, who gone to the African Cup right now. They have been decent in the midfield in that deeper area. Gibbs White is the player I think has been down in form this year, but you have seen recently with some, somewhat decent results. You have seen Gibbs White having more of an influence, and definitely, it seems like Daesh getting a tune out of him much better than the previous coaches this season, whether it's Ange Postecoglou or then Nuno. Yeah. And Hutchinson seems to be a mainstay now under this coach in terms of starting. Hudson Odoi as well has been the choice on the left, and Igor Jesus um, has gotten a nod, pretty consistently as well. Obviously, they're still without, Chris Wood, long-term injury, and Awani, hasn't really done enough to warrant getting more game. And Callum Wendo, I thought would get more chances, but seems to not be impressing enough in training to get the chance. So those were the 11s on the day, and the game started out with both teams kind of exchanging, attacks against each other. But Nottingham Forest had the first big spell of the game, and cruelly not getting anything from that spell, they concede a own goal from Murillo in the first half. Now that 1-0 lead for West Ham stuck in until the second half, when it looked like um, a second goal was scored, but that goal was chalked off. I believe that was Somerville. Yeah, Somerville scored. Castellanos in the build-up was deemed to be just offside. And when that went away cruelly again, it seemed like right after, that's when Forest got the goal from the corner kick. Dominguez with a speculative, really just at the near post, flicking it on. And it was, perfectly directed and went in off the far post. And then, of course, we just described the penalty incident at the end of the game where Gibbs White got the goal. So, West Ham, I think it was kind of cruel on them, to be honest, because I do think after it went 1-1, there was a spell where Forest looked like they were the more likely to get the second. And then once they weathered that storm, West Ham did have a nice little decent spell of play in the second half, where they looked like they could indeed win the game. But when things aren't going for you, it just seems like it is just a domino effect of bad things happening. And one of the bad things that happened was, conceding that penalty, which I did ask the question when I started talking about the game. Like, do you guys think that that was a penalty that should have been given to Nottingham Forest on that play? So, yeah, let me know in the comment section if you're watching this on the replay. Do you think that Areola should have been, called for a foul on Gibbs White for that given penalty that ended up being the game winner from Morgan Gibbs White? Let me know what you guys think. Let's just take a look at some raw stats before we move on to the next game. You see the possession was pretty even. Forest edging that. They did have the higher expected goals as well. And really and truly, a factor in the penalty, it was pretty even and expected goals. 3 big chances created by West Ham, only 1 for Nottingham Forest. And that's probably the one out of open play. 14 shots to West Ham, 13 to Forest. So both teams, decent amount of attacking on the day. 5 shots on target for Forest, 3 for West Ham. Let's see the touches in the box. Forest had a few more. Final third entries dead even at 70. This game, was a really back and forth game. And I think just the team that, has a bit more luck at the moment. Or maybe, I don't even know if they have luck. I just know that right now West Ham clearly has some bad luck going on. And I think also West Ham is a team that if they're scoring goals, most of the time, Jared Bowen is going to be in and amongst them. And I think he had a uncharacteristically off game. Like some of the chances he had, him never hit them clean with the shots, and just some things that normally you would see him getting on target. He was missing the target. So wasn't really his day. And more often than not, if you're a West Ham team and Bowen not on it, yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to win or even get anything. So this one ended 2-1, big win for Forest. They were the team that was closest to the relegation zone that weren't in it. So whenever you play a team in the relegation zone as one of those teams, you want to extend that gap. And they were able to do so with this 2-1 win. So big win for Nottingham Forest. Nuno survived. I don't hear anything about him getting sacked, but there's a lot of talk about him maybe having to get sacked for West Ham to do anything this season in this league. Let's move on to Wednesday now, where it was an action-packed day. I think they had 6 games kick off at the same time. The other 2 started 45 minutes later. One of those games starting at 2:30 Eastern time was Bournemouth and Tottenham. As you can see on screen, this one was a cracker, ending 3-2. And again, continuing with the theme of the week, Antoine Semenyo got the winner in the 95th minute. And it could very well be the last cover ball for Semenyo for Bournemouth. And the celebration looked very emotional, still on the ground. And I just stayed there still with all his teammates coming around. So there's a chance that that was some kind of foreshadowing. Of course, we know that Fabrizio Romano did report that pretty much all systems are a go. Not a here we go yet, but so yeah, there's reports that he's doing a medical right now, 13 minutes ago. 62.5 Man City transfer. Wow, so Bournemouth can reinvest the money. There's a picture of him and Pep that look very AI-ish. But it's reportedly 64 million pounds deal until 2031. And he's 26 now. 1 hour ago, them have a picture with Semenyo with his teammates, with his new teammates in a Man City kit. But bro, you can't tell what is not real from real in these pictures anymore. But a lot of outlets saying it's completed for 64 million. Somebody post United missed out. Yo, a United fan say United's wage offer was lower than Mateus Cunha's, which the player reportedly took issue with. Wow. That does sound like a bad mind person. Somebody say he's set to become a City player in the coming days. Them spread the 60 million over 3 years. What? Yo, so it looks like Semenyo is gonna be gone. It's saying that Semenyo turned down the whole entire rest of the big 6. Teams now looking at Marmoush. Wow. There's a picture of Semenyo talking about medical completed. But at the foot of the picture, it said this picture was generated by AI. Yo, the man I go wear 42. Yo, bro, you really are go to City and wear 42. You better play like the greatest. That me I tell you. Can't want to wear your number over there. That chance that Haaland missed, not sure how he not scored that. I think it was the last one. Oh, it was. I know him never scored. Oh, are you talking the one where him kick it and Verbruggen save it? Are you talking about the one where Van Heck block? Both of those look like they were nailed on goals. Look at that Omari playing in the EPL, but some people was comparing him with a player that is playing U21. Gigs, the hilarious thing about Amari is when he wasn't getting any game for Forest, like somebody would bring up Amari every time we talk about Premier League, even if we're not talking about him. And now that him starting every week, you now hear nothing again. Oh, your boxing comment was for the penalty. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, it's a rotted thump. Trust me. But it fit for the other thing too. Bless up Apache. Big up yourself. Hope all is well, my G. But yes, a menu, bro. Look at the emotions. Man say, I'm a Ghana City. That's what I must say right there. Yeah. So this was the player ratings for the day. You see, Spurs had some really good ones and some really bad ones. Matthias Tell probably had his best all-around game, scoring a goal, good all-around play. Romero was holding up the rest of his back line. Paulinho scored a wicked bicycle and a set piece kind of second action goal. But the star of the show, as usual, for Bournemouth ended up being Antoine Semenyo. And I think it was a nice touch as well at the end of the game. Semenyo did sub off just to kind of get that last round of applause from the Vitality Stadium. I'm sure the fans there will always respect Semenyo because every time throughout this entire summer, this season so far, it's been rumored that he's leaving. Whether it's Arsenal, whether it's all the big six being linked to him, basically. And every time Iriola talk about him, all him say is how professional he is and him just put him head down and train and play and work hard just the same. So it's nothing you could say as a fan of Bournemouth. He re-upped his contract to kind of protect Bournemouth from not losing him for nothing. And that's how it's supposed to work. If you have a player from a team like Bournemouth that don't really spend that much money, they have done excellent in making sales. They sold the entire backline basically to very good clubs for very good fees. And they're just continuing that now with Semenyo, £64 million more rich and or richer. And Semenyo gets what is probably a dream move for him to Manchester City at a time when I think Man City do need just an injection of something. I would argue that that outlay of cash would probably be better spent on the defensive side. But no doubt Semenyo should be some kind of impact for them. I mean, he's a very good player. And I think he's going to them at what could be considered the peak of what his abilities are going to be, at least for now, for the next 2 to 3 years as well. So let's see how it plays out. It's not official, but it's definitely making the rounds on a lot of places. And it seems like something that's inevitable at this point. And all the signs point to that. The celebration, the sub at the end of the game, even Iriola saying he's not sure a lot, and it just seems like they know what's about to happen. But Spurs, they're another team that I think has been a bit unlucky. I think Frank has been a bit stubborn. I do think, like, for whatever reason, Paulinho wasn't really playing for like weeks and weeks and weeks. It was Bentancur and anybody else besides Paulinho. And I'm thinking earlier in the season when they were having some, somewhat better results, it was always Bentancur and Paulinho in there. And for whatever reason, that's not what he's been doing. Now, this game, he goes back to that. And Bournemouth really just had spells in the game and were clinical. Tottenham kind of dominated most of the game, if we're being totally honest, in terms of just like gameplay and just runner play. Tottenham kind of had the better of it, but Tottenham is so weak when it comes to just defending actions right now. Like they're not defending well as a team. Everybody's a bit disjointed around the back, and they definitely seem to always concede more than what the XG is. And this is no different. 3 goals conceded, but only 1.27 XG. So that just shows you like they're just not dealing with the defensive actions well enough. And teams are scoring good goals. I mean, Evan Nielsen's goal was top class. Semenyo's was the same, a shot from outside the box. Decent enough coverage, but maybe not quick enough to close down the shot. That's the only thing you could say about that winning goal. But did take a slight defection that kind of helped it to get away from the keeper. But in the end, I can't say that Bournemouth fully deserve all 3, but you have to take your chances, and Bournemouth just did it better on the day than Tottenham, to be totally honest. 2 big chances missed for Spurs, only 1 big chance scored, and it was the one that they got. And they made the most of some other actions. Like I said, Evan Nielsen's header, you'll struggle to see a more technical header than that. I mean, the way how he worked out the angle so well to like redirect it with the flick. Yeah, man. As a former striker, I really, really, really appreciate that Evan Nielsen header, bro. That was a sick goal. Incredible. Bilal has mentioned how good Omar is, and he was right. I got to say, yeah, he never stopped saying it, even when it was looking bleak for him. They left him off of the European squad for Nottingham Forest. At that time it was Postecoglou on the staff. But I can assure you, if they do get through the Conference League, are they in the Conference League, right? No, they're in the Europa League. If they got through the Europe, if they get through the Europa League group phase, or league phase, I should say, I'm pretty sure they'll add him to the knockout roster for sure, because Sean Dyche believe in him. Bless up float. Based on what you said about Semenyo, shows more about the club not holding players hostage for financial reasons. Yeah. But I think also, the player has to play ball with the club as well, because DJ Giggs, if you look at Gehi's situation at Palace, Gehi's agents are probably worried about Palace pricing out any potential suitors if Gehi have a contract holding him down to the club. So instead of going through that tit for tat valuation being too high for people to afford to buy me and this and that, him just say, look, I won't sign a deal, and I'll just, take my pick at the end of the season. And players don't mind that, because, our agents for that matter, because bigger sign-on fees and bonuses when you sign, because there was no outlay of a fee. So that money that, you would normally put towards the transfer fee, you can just bulk up the player's salary or bonus, So it takes 2 to play that game. You can't. Yes, I can want Palace would love for Gehi to be on a contract till at least 29-30 right now in this whole negotiation time, or 28 even. But that's not on the table. So at this point, it's like, okay, Gehi, they probably don't really want to send Gehi somewhere where he don't want to go. But at the end of the day, if a team come with a money offer with 6 months left on his contract, then they'd be stupid not to take it, because it's either that or nothing. Bless up, Jagans. Hope all is well, my G. Yeah, man, big up yourself, Respect for the view. And I know you're going to drop a like. And if you have more than one device, you might drop a few. All right, so let's see. So Tottenham had the more ball possession, 1 more big chance created, 5 more shots total. Shots on target, just 1 more, 4-3. Big chance missed, we told you already, 2. None for Bournemouth. Final third entries dead even, 44-44. And 1 error leading to shot from Spurs, and that's been an issue for them as well, like giving away goals. Van de Ven was guilty this time of that. Krupi getting on the score sheet again. He's fast. becoming one to watch in the league. When somebody kind of bursts on the scene and has some production early, sometimes you can just put it down to, momentum, confidence. But Krupp, it's becoming a bit more frequent, ever since December, go against Man U. Now he scored in back-to-back games against the two North London clubs, Arsenal and Bournemouth. And, he's only 19 years of age, people. So this guy has a lot to offer moving forward. He's currently listed as a French player, as you can see, but I'm pretty sure his origin leads back somewhere to the African continent. Just not sure if it's Algeria, Morocco, one of these countries. And don't be surprised with the World Cup coming up. Players like this strongly considering to play for their heritage places. You're going to see a lot of that, especially a kid like this that, really look like him getting on form. Those countries might ramp up the recruitment and say, yo, World Cup summer, what you say? Because I think Krupe could have scored a whole bunch more goals, and I just don't think he'd get into this France World Cup team. But you never know still. But yeah, Tottenham, a lot of bad players, some really good ones. And just porous defensively, Vicario poor, Van de Ven poor, Poro living up to his name, poor. Jed Spence slightly better, but still not good enough. And like I said, those three players, really the best players on the pitch. Senesi had another good game. He's been consistent, even though Bournemouth shipping a lot of goals. He's been playing well. And Semenyo looked like his last game for the club. But Semenyo definitely did his thing in his time at Bournemouth if it's his last game. Look at this. So he joined Bournemouth, 1 goal, 11, 47, and 42, well, at 89 and 21. So 110 matches played. "32 goals, 32 goals, and 14 assists. Not bad. So 110 appearances and about 46 goal contribution in a Bournemouth team as a winger. It's not terrible. It's not terrible at all. 32 and 14 assists. Decent. Well, 64 million, it look like, people gone to the citizens. But this was a big win, 3-2 at the death. Tottenham, after some decent pressure and chances to go up 3-2 themselves, concede late. Story of them season. 95th minute, losing it. Expressions, if you want some comedy, just check out Expressions oozing match reaction to that. Yeah, man. So it goes sometime with the whole contract, and yeah, light dropping is the first thing upon forwarding into the building. Yeah, man. Respect Jagans. You don't know the thing set. Float Jagans. Extra respect to Uno as well, because don't know we ain't agreeing. So you guys are members, and we greatly appreciate the support in that way as well. Just remember the Haaland miss. I was referring to Ryan was the one who passed him the ball after a Brighton mistake. Yeah. Shirky. And it gets saved by Verbruggen, like somehow, like on him right hand. Semenyo is my captain for my FPL team. I wonder what will happen now if him go Man City. Well, Jagarns, I don't think you can really captain him right away when him go City because it's just too many people. So, right now they have been working with so obviously Haaland up front. It's been Doku off the left and Shirky off the right. With Bernardo, Reinders, Rodri, Nico, whoever in the midfield. Um so it's just a case where Semenyo comes and Doku bench or Shirky bench. I don't know. I don't know what Pep's plan is. Pep might get him and start see them. I don't know what I'm going to do with him. But I think naturally playing him off one of the side areas, obviously him have the ability to come inside as well. But a lot of times when players go to Pep system, especially attacking players, not name Haaland, it take a little time for them to really, do what them fully capable of, So let's see with Semenyo if it's going to be that case. I just think he's on such good form over such a long period that I don't think going to Man City going to take him much time to do anything with them. I think he's going to be good, from the first day. Brentford, this was my surprise of the week when Giggs asked me. 3-0 comprehensive victory over Sunderland, and Sunderland did get a penalty after their best spell early in the second half. But Enzo Lafay, the one who stepped up and he tried a Panenka, and it was read beautifully by Keller, and that kept the game at 2-0. Or sorry, at 1-0. Sorry, and then that's pretty much when the game flipped after that save. And from there on in, Brentford was the far better team, and they were able to get a brace from Thiago by the time it was the 65th minute after Shade should have scored, but returned the favor and the same, kind of action. And then Yarmouk got his first goal for the club that the fans really enjoyed because he's become like a unsung hero, filling in that midfield area. Usually Jensen, Janelt, Jordan Henderson, they rotate a lot. But I think Yarmouk is the one that, he's the Swiss Army knife in there. He plays deep sometimes he plays close to the striker. Depending on how they're playing or what system they're playing, he can fit in a lot of places. So, you could tell that the players and everybody was really happy for him to get that goal. And that made it 3-0. And then, Sunderland probably just one of them days that they can just look back at the season and just forget because they've had so many days where they have been much better than what we saw here. And even in them being poor, they still were able to muster up some decent chances from set pieces and dead ball situations. So, look, that's one of them ones. They have put in enough. They have enough good credit in the bank in the league this season that, as long as they keep this as like a one-off type of thing, getting these wide margin losses, then can just kind of chalk this one, to be honest. And you have to remember as well with Sunderland, they are one of the teams that are severely hit by the AFCON in terms of participation. So Talbi is gone, Sadiki is gone, Bertrand Traore is gone, Masuaku is gone. I would say definitely three of those players have started a lot of games this season. And two of them pretty much would start if they were here. Sadiki for sure starts if he's there. And I think Mandava, Renildo, I think he's gone too. We didn't play for Mozambique. Well, they got knocked out, but yeah, he played and just came back. So probably wouldn't be available today. Yeah, as a matter of fact, he was not listed on the bench. So, yeah. But yeah, I have quite a few people gone to Afghan. Brentford have a couple as well. Dango is over there. Just get knocked out. Had a rough day at the office, boy. 5.6. But yeah, Brentford really and truly put in the work, and slapped away a team. And Rico Henry, it's getting down to the wire here, getting close to March. Jamaica last chance to do anything in this summer's World Cup. Rico Henry, as I said, stated earlier, he is playing a lot more minutes of late. Started this game, played 90 minutes against Wolves. He started this one and was subbed off in the 77th. It's worst in the last 5 games or so. He started and played 90 minutes against Spurs. Brentford played, so he came on in this one. They won 4-2. And then the most recent game he started. So that's by my count. Started 4 out of the last 5 in the Prem. Came on and started the EPL Cup game as well. And I think these were all sub appearances, I believe. Yeah, 29 minutes. 74. This is when they played us. 16. So yeah, getting a lot more game time. Looking to get back to that #1 spot for Brentford at left back. Still, Pinnock can't break into the first team though. Vandenberg even not starting, who had took Pinnock's game, but it looks like Iron now that they have cover at left and right back, is gone back to what looks more natural to him, and that's playing centre back. But yeah, Igor Thiago on fire, man. Another 2 goals. Amazingly, this season, he's up to 16 in the Prem, 17 overall. Now, when he was at Belgian Pro League, he did have a season where he bagged 29 in 53. But other than that season, it's really the only season in Europe where he's done this. And I was shocked when I looked at his age the other day and I said, damn, this guy is 24. He looks way older than that, but yeah, he's only 24 years of age, man. That's crazy. But he's up to 17 goals in 22 matches played, 16 in the league and 1 in the EFL Cup. That's quite remarkable. And for whatever reason, Brentford have a factory and they just churn out 20 goal scorers in the league, Lots of games to play and he just needs 4 more. But Brentford with a good bit of business. Ludogorets ate a nice food. Bruges ate a nice food. And guess what? Brentford will also eat a nice food because strikers that can give you 20, yeah. Unless your money plenty and you can give them the salary where them worth, they'll be leaving. Basically, you can use both feet. He may play anywhere across front line to me. Yeah, you don't know where the Pep going to use him on the right or the left. Pinnock has been forgotten. Still no minutes. Yeah, him can't get none. Bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up, Jamra. I agree. Gunner's coach is a big joke. Yeah, man, we'll soon get into that. Rico Henry, I get enough playing time now. Him should secure that left back position for JA. Yeah, based on that, I would say you're right, Jagons. Because Rico Henry at the peak of his powers definitely better than the other guys that we have in Amari Bell and Greg Lee. So I'm not opposed to that. Same thing we said, the man have a rough 24-year start. Yo, bro, I was so shocked, Apache, when I look it up. I'm expecting it to say like 29 or something, Cause I know sometimes when the hairline kind of going, it makes it age you a couple of years. I'm saying, okay, even with the hairline thing, I can't give him past about 29, 30 at the most. I'm gonna look, I'm gonna say 24. I'm gonna say, what? Yeah, man, in park, man. Yeah, man, 30 something for sure. But no, 24, bro. Man, just barely reach over this side and I do him thing. So yeah, I mean, have a big upside, at that age. And him already move super intelligent in the movement and just how he move. Like actually the way he play, me think he must older, because the man don't waste any movement. Every movement is like calculated. Because he's not the fastest, he's not slowest, but him, he's not a speedy player, I don't think. He's just very physical and strong, and his close control when running is great. And him know forget him know which shot to get off when. The slide, the chip, the this, the that, round the keeper. Like him just seem to have a grasp about finishing. Yeah, man, decent striker, man. Predatory striker. Yeah, so Sunderland, I think the Afghan kind of catch up with them this game. No excuse, but and again, when it's 1-0 and you're having a good spell and you get a penalty, you have to convert it. So Enzo Lafay, yeah, problems. Mukiele had an error that led to the first Igor goal. But yeah, 16 goals on the season is a madness. Now this game right here ended 0-0 at Selhurst Park, and I don't know what kind of tricks that both defenses and goalkeepers did, but trust me, it was crazy how there was so much goal mouth action in this game with neither team scoring. Like ridiculous. But yeah, this one did end 0-0. You see the expected goals for 0-0 really high. 1.74 and 1.50. So both teams, between them, 6 big chances. So I don't know what kind of shield was around this goal line. But everything that never gets saved hit the post. This was historic how a goal didn't score in this game. I don't know. But yeah, this just strange things just happen sometimes in life, and this was one of them. 5 shots on target for Palace to 3 for Villa. You see the overall stats as I scroll through. Big chances missed. Everybody missed chances. Both teams missed 3. Touches in the box. That was higher for Aston Villa on the day, 37-21. Final third entries barely higher, but Villa did edge it 49-46. Duels dead even. So this game was very evenly played. Both teams had chances, as you can see from the stats. And again, I never got to watch all of this game, but I did watch an extended highlight, and the amount of goal mouth action besides these 6 big chances that they're saying is crazy. These were the lineups for the game. Brennan Johnson made the trip over, sign, and put in the damn first 11 right away. Them just dropped how much on him? 40 million euros. So Crystal Palace, had Tottenham took a 15 mil loss on this one, but I'm sure they were happy to get something for him. So 40 mil. They didn't really reinvest that as a money a lot. So I think they should have some money to deal with some more moves, even if they need or if they want. And who knows, Gay may go, and he'll have to go for something if he's gonna go now. So anything that they get out of the Gay deal at this point is probably good enough, but maybe not. Maybe at this point they're saying, look, if we want to stay up, we're gonna have to keep this man and just lose him for free. It's more worth it to stay in the Prem than take the little transfer fee from whoever want to give it. So that's gonna be interesting to see how that play out, to be honest. Very, very interesting. But again, I just don't understand how the ball never going to the goal. Gehi, another one like Semenyo, you haven't really seen his form drop at all amid all the talks around him. And yeah, it just was not Villa or Palace Day in front of the goal. That's just the reality of it. Both keepers did well. Even Bizo, when him came on, did really well off the bench. Had to come on for injured Emi Martinez at halftime, which I'm sure his fantasy owners were thrilled about. But Glasner, really not having the chance to rotate the team so much, just made one sub. Sosa came on for Deveni towards the end of the game. But yeah, Richards did suffer a concussion and hasn't really gotten back in the team. And Canvo, had to get thrown in there, and he didn't do badly at all in this game. Some good recovery pace. When it looked like Villa was gonna have something going at the goalkeeper. But yeah, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa played to a 0-0 draw, and Man City and Arsenal especially like that result. So 0-0 there. Everton, 2 red cards for them. One was a straight red to Michael Keane for pulling Tolu's hair on a aerial duel, and the other one was Jack Grealish after having a yellow, kind of, well, not kind of, but sarcastically clapping the referee at 90 minutes, and he was sent off. So they only played with 10 men for from the 83rd minute onwards, and 9 men for from 90 minutes to the end of the game, which was about the 96 minute in this one. Agbadu at Afghan, Ilman Ndiaye and Idrissa Gueye at Afghan as well. So few players out for both teams, or well, 1 for Wolves and 2 for Everton. But the story here was that it just played out to a stalemate at the end of the day. Everton took the lead to Michael Keane from a set piece action, and then Mateus Mane again scoring in successive games. He was a threat all throughout this one, just as he has been in his sub appearances and in his start last time out on the weekend. But he continues to impress and got on the score sheet again, and that did prove to get some points for Wolves, who, after winning their last game, want to get something positive to keep some kind of momentum or get some kind of momentum. And they were able to get a draw at a venue, the Hill Dickinson Stadium, that, has been a tough place for teams to go. So I think mentality-wise, that's a big point for them. Maybe not what they need at the moment. They really need 3 points back to back to back in some kind of stretch of games. But Everton has enough experience to see out this game, even with the 10 men, and then when they got even worse to the 9 men, they just knew the assignment, and they were able to carry it out. And that's something that you would know, a David Moyes team going to be able to do things like that. So Everton won, Wolves won. Don't look now, people. Wolves is on the way to safety. All right, Fulham and Chelsea. This one was interesting. New manager, Liam Rosenior, was in the crowd to see his team lose 2-1 to Fulham, and all the action and goals, well, not all the action, but all the goals came in the second half. But interestingly enough, it was in the 22nd minute where the game really changed for good, and that was Marco Correa bringing down Harry Wilson on his way into the box. And luckily it wasn't in the box, it was outside, but it did mean that it was a straight red to Cucurella for the denial of a clear goal scoring chance. So that was what kind of set the parameters for the match right there. And it was issues after that, Fernandez, Tosin, Cole Palmer all getting yellows, and those were all after the ref gave the red card. So they're just losing their heads, cussing out the ref. Santos was sacrificed right after that, and Hater came on, and that was just to get the defensive shape right. I don't think, bringing back one of the midfielders to play where Cucurella was would have been the answer. So he decided to play Enzo a little deeper for where Santos was playing, and just bring on a left back for Santos, and just kind of adjust the shape. And that's what they did. And, for spells in the game, it must be said that Chelsea, still had their moments, even down to 10. And especially in that second half, when they found the equalizing goal through Liam Delap. The problem was after that, it was like they kind of in their brain remembered that they had 10 men, and they immediately started to retreat and get closer and closer and closer to Robert Sanchez. And if you look at even the goal that Wilson ends up scoring, if they're keeping a more aggressive line, let's say, around the back, there's a chance that on the initial play coming into the box, somebody could have been offside. In the end, football is a funny game because Harry Wilson been on form, like on fire. And when Chelsea attempt to clear the cross that comes in, somehow the ball miraculously ends up, with Wilson running into the box onto it. And how he took that down with his left foot and then struck with his weaker right foot through traffic. Clinical finish. And that's basically what Harry Wilson been doing for weeks now. So him deserve a lot of credit. Had a good run with his national team as well to the World Cup and qualifiers and all those things. So just a player that's on good form now. The former Liverpool man, I think he's up to what 20. Yeah, he's 28 now. So feels like he's been around a lot longer. But I think he's all putting it together now and it's working. Technique really showing. Chelsea, McFarlane tried to kind of get things squared away. He did have Reece James in reserve and brought on João Pedro and Achimpong for Palmer and Gusto in the 75th minute. So those were the subs by Callum McFarlane. Rossignol was in the building watching from the stands. There's some clips of him like having reactions to certain plays and everything. People don't miss anything these days. The man just there try watch a game and all kind of coverage must see about pictures and we must say. I'll say a training video when I talk to Esteval. So yeah, man. Yeah, so Fulham Chelsea, man, 2-1. Jimenez turned back the clock, had a wicked game. I think Smith Rowe was good as well, a threat. But Sanderberger was good. Lasted the 90. Usually him come off, but he stayed on this game. He was doing so well. But yeah, Smith Rowe had his moments, getting off shots, looking dangerous. But Jimenez was a brilliant run for that first header that he scored to make it 1-0. Liam Delap had a glorious chance to equalize, but was stopped 1v1 against Leno, and then he made up for it from a corner, scoring the rebound after Robinson could do nothing but flicker onto the back post. Anthony Robinson, that is, Delap finished with his left. And then, of course, as I explained earlier, when you're hot, the ball has a way of finding you in the best moments. And when Harry Wilson runs onto that and decides not to shoot with his left and puts it on his right and shoots and still scores, that this player really, really, really full of confidence and full of execution as well, as he's executing all these plays. Had a brilliant finish first half, but Jimenez kind of started the action coming from an offside position. So Wilson just one of those players, if the ball is at him foot right now with any kind of shooting going on, it's going to be tough for the goalkeeper. He's probably going to force him to make some kind of save. But Fulham don't look now moving up the table. Of course, me, I go through the games first and then we go ahead and look at the table. I know you might have seen it on screen a few times, but yeah, don't study it yet. So Chelsea had a higher expected goals, even with the disadvantage in players. Ball possession a bit higher for Fulham, but Chelsea created 4 big chances in the game and was only able to convert one of them. The Liam Delap finish. I know Delap himself missed one. Shots on target 6-5 in favor of Chelsea. Final third entries 55-54 in favor of Fulham. Wow. So yeah, Chelsea lose the game, dominate XG, create way more big chance, and still lose the damn game. That's some madness. Leno, 0.93 goals prevented. That's a great number. So yeah, it was just down to Leno's performance on the day, and also, that red card definitely didn't help. But I do think that they did a decent job with 10 men of still being a threat. It wasn't just one-way traffic. And I think, like I said, when the lap get the goal, it's like psychologically them just dress back on top of Sanchez, and it was just pressure on top of pressure. And Sanchez made 2 big saves before that Wilson goal, and it was just 9 minutes from the lap goal. So there you go. Now Man City Brighton, this one ended 1-1 from the Etihad, and it was goals by Erling Haaland right before halftime from the penalty spot and Kaoru Matoma in the 68th minute. I think the penalty was given away by Gomez, and Doku with his signature move round leg, and then boom, flick it over your foot and go past you. Well, this time he couldn't go past because Diego Gomez was planted there to take him out. Basically, that's what it looked like. It's almost like he never realized he was in the box, and it was such a obvious foul. So many times with these penalties, we're like debating over and over. Hey, was that a penalty? Blah blah blah. Well, there's no debate on this one, people. Trust me. Yeah, man. Wilson been around, bro. A long time Wilson about, man. Well, Mitoma. It's crazy because Mitoma and Minte like them can't play together. Mitoma forward, no Minte doubtful and not play. Madness. But Mitoma back, getting on the score sheet, lasted 83 minutes, which is a good sign for the coaching staff and everybody. He's a quality player, man. When he's on it, I'm just going to add something different to Brighton. But let's talk about City for a minute. Now, you look here, and I've noticed this about Pep. Certain times, Pep decides to sacrifice one of these players in his starting 11. There's four of them I've noticed. Well, really, four players. There's four players to fit three positions. And one of these players in this group always get left off. Foden, Doku, Reinders, and Shirky. Those four players, Pep is always going to play, or has so far only played three of them at a time. Now, they're always listing Bernardo Silva wide. But I feel like, yeah, he actually did play wide in this game. When Shirky came on, his starting position was kind of wide, but in the end, he was just really central, like, trying to link as close as possible to Haaland. And yeah, it's just that with him starting three of those four, I just feel like you lose something without Shirky playing in this game from the start, right? And it can be said that the week before or the games before, maybe Shirky hasn't been his best. I don't know, man. I have to figure out if I'm Pep away. Yeah, one of them have to bench, and maybe you start to put Bernardo Silva in that bench sometime category instead of play every single game. But I don't think that's gonna happen because he is kind of Pep's eyes and ears out there. But yeah, Man City dominated territory, dominated stats, but did not dominate the biggest thing, and that is the score sheet. But to be honest and fair, they were definitely the more likely towards the end of the game. They were under a lot of pressure, Brighton. And they just weren't able to move the ball up the pitch enough in that second half. 60 to 40, you see the XG doubled up there basically. 2.55 for City, 1.16 for Brighton. 7 big chances created, but look there. 5 big chances created by Brighton. So the story of City season and why I think they're 6 points off right now more than anything is they just give up way too many opportunities and openings. And when a day like this, when it's just not falling your way in the box to get those big chances to go in, or poor execution, whatever it is, that is that's what can happen. That's what can happen. Like if you're Manchester City and you're giving up a lot of chances, Pep in his mind is probably saying, okay, we have to score more than teams. But then when you don't score, this 1-1 might turn into a 2-1, might turn into a 3-1, 3-2, if you're not taking your chances like a day like this. Just so happen both teams missed a lot of chances. 5 missed by Brighton and 6 missed by City. So at the end of the day, the clear-cut chances fell to City, that's for sure. I think they had a higher volume of better chances, better openings. And they had 19 more entries. And That's why maybe they might feel like they're hard done by with a point. But in fairness to Brighton, they did create their own as well. And if they were clinical, we're looking at a high scoring game because both teams were giving up chances like crazy. But Man City, you know, point gained, 2 points dropped. I would have to say, if you're a City fan out there, you must be thinking that's 2 points dropped. Um, Home game to Brighton. Yeah, they've been a tough team for you guys. Any City fan would know that of late, especially. But at the Etihad, you know, knowing that Arsenal and Liverpool applied some pressure, it was just kind of very surprising. They weren't able to get it over the line. But Man City dropped points, man. They dropped points. Haaland back on the score sheet. I think that was how many games? I think it was 3 games him never score in the Prem, and people were freaking out. 1, 2, 3, yeah. But he's back on the score sheet from the penalty spot. And Manchester City still leaking those chances. The lineups, I should have pointed this out earlier on. Aline was recalled from his loan. Um, Still only 20 years of age. He was at Watford in the Championship and he was recalled because of the injury crisis. Kusanov started and played decent to well. Ake started at left back, probably because Nico O'Reilly was dead on his feet in the last game. And Rico Lewis came on and actually played right back for once in his life for Mateus Nunes. So, yeah, 1-1. This one ended, goes by Haaland and Mitoma. And Man City lost the chance to tighten that grip and that lead in the top of the table. Now, Burnley Man United, this was another caretaker or, caretaker manager, Darren Fletcher, led out his former team, Man United, against Burnley at Turf Moor. And Aiden Heaven caught the own goal bug. Then Sesko had a brace. Sesko people, yes, I said it. Benjamin Sesko came to the party. And not only did they have these 2 goals, but he had numerous other good runs and half chances and just was overall involved in the game. 90 minutes of play. He had 39 touches. Not bad for a striker, right? That second finish in particular, from the Dorgu cross, clinical. Open up his body, open side foot, just work with the spin on the football. It's gonna naturally curve away from where you hit it to. And that was just brilliant execution. Can't say nothing more. And then Bruno's pass for the first goal was excellent as well. But one thing that was apparent in this game, Bruno was definitely further forward. I've been saying all along, Bruno in a 4-2-3-1 as that central player where he can, go right or left and just find those pockets. That's when you're going to get the best out of Bruno overall. Casemiro and Duarte were the pivot. I don't know why no manager never do that before. But yeah, Fletcher moving like he want the job on an interim permanent basis. Man, you confused, they don't know what to do. So they might call him anything. But look, Burnley 2-2. Jaden Anthony came save the day 6 minutes after Sesko gave them the lead. I think Anthony came on like in the 64th or something. Okay, so he came on in the 58th, right before Sesko goal. And then Jaden Anthony inside the box. Nobody closing him down enough. And on his weaker left, brilliant strike to the opposite far corner. Top bins. So yeah, that made it 2-2, and the game kind of played out from there with Manchester United applying pressure. Almost here, almost there. Yeah, like almost to end the game, but in the end, the points were shared, and it was 1 point apiece from Turf Moor. Man United back to the drawing board. Maybe we'll find out who their next manager will be within the next 48 hours. I'm sure if they're playing Thursday, their FA Cup game probably until Sunday. So, yeah, I know something soon. Now, this was definitely the pick of the bunch for the week for sure when it comes down to games and excitement and entertainment. Yes, you're not reading that wrong, people. 4-3, 4-3, Newcastle over Leeds. Make sure as well, people, not smash the like button. See, City didn't get the win because of poor finishing from players that would normally finish those missed chances to me. Yeah, for sure. It was just a lack of clinical. But again, you have to look at what Brighton was up to because brothers a five big chance in creating. Five. Router. Gomez give up a penalty. Create two big chance. Miss one. Create one. No say. Welbs. Welbs barely touch the ball. Was it Van Heck? No. Well, I'm not sure, but the man they make some rotted block and the man they miss some chance. But both teams miss chances. But yeah, City did have more. So you're right at the end of the day. But Newcastle leads, as I said. This game right here was a classic 4-3, and it was a slow burn, because Aronson never scored till the 32nd mistake by Theo, and Aronson took advantage after getting the ball, clean finish after Calvert-Lewin slid in through. Then 1-1 after Harvey Barnes equalized. Good footwork in the box, interchange, interplay, Voltemada laying it off, Barnes finishing clean. And then Calvert-Lewin right on the stroke of halftime, in injury time of halftime, 45 plus 5. And that was another Theo mistake. Just off balance, arms flailing, caught his arm on the way through. And Calvert-Lewin made no mistake from the spot. Then we move into the second half. They thought Joe Linton equalized early in the 54th minute. And then shortly thereafter, in the 79th minute, Brandon Aronson again showed up to the party. Bad playing out from the back, just over dribbling, lost in a bad area. Aronson was playing it early and just, used the defender as a shield or a screen, I should say. Put it through his legs with a shot to the far post, no chance. So that made it 3-2 and they were feeling good about life. Then Bruno G gets a pen themselves. Handball clearly by Aronson, who was the star of the day. He gives that up. Bruno G steps up, no mistakes, 3-all. And then 90 plus 12-minute drama again. Harvey Barnes eventually put it away after some scrappy play in the box, but he swiveled, shot well, and Perry might feel like he could have done better, but that was it, man. 4-3. Brilliant, brilliant piece of entertaining game. And of course, the atmosphere at St. James Park always turn it up even more. Theo did come off at halftime, which, when somebody making all those mistakes, he was on a yellow as well. Maybe Eddie Howe just protecting him a bit. But yeah, Leeds just falling short, but they are proving to be a team that cause everybody problems in how they pressure and press and just don't give you time. Um, So yeah, it's going to be interesting moving forward how Leeds does against teams in and around it for Europe and everything like that. Will they be one of those spoiler teams as the season goes on? They're definitely coming into their own of late and scoring a lot of goals doing it. So let's see if they sustain it though. That's the key for these teams like Leeds. Stats on the day: Newcastle much higher ball position. Expected goals not too far apart. 2.44 for Newcastle. 1.89 for Leeds. Three big chances apiece created, so that shows you right there. It's not how long you have it, what you do with it. 8 shots on target for Newcastle, 6 shots for Leeds. Big chances scored. They both missed 2. Entries 62-51 in favor of Leeds on the day. Wow. Bulk of the game played in the middle third. Goalkeepers not preventing anything. And 3 errors on the day by the home team. 1 error led to a goal as well. That was the error by Theo for the first goal, more than likely. But Newcastle 4, Leeds 3. There's been a Wissa sighting. That's a few games now. I'm off the bench in a row. So let's see. Batman back from injury. That's good news for Newcastle. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for the Newcastle Leeds game. But trust me, wicked, wicked, wicked piece of game. Okay, read that already by Geeks. All right. Newcastle Leeds 4-3, man. But all right, people, we're down to the last game for the week. It ended 0-0, and yeah, great. Next game. No, just kidding. All right, so this was starting lineup for today. If you were at the watch along earlier on, really greatly appreciate tuning into the review show as well. Had a good time. I got pulled away from stream a few times because you don't know, man's have to run his whole same way. But nonetheless, we had a great time bringing you the stream. Just wish that it could have been much more of a spectacle. It was really tactical. Neither team really driving home a huge advantage in the game at any point. I would say that Liverpool for their second half should be commended because they played the entire second half at the Emirates, where we have been a better second half team this season overall, and it looked like we regressed big time in the second half from especially the end of the first half, how we ended the first half off. So this was starting lineup. I don't think there were any surprises. The one thing that really pissed me off today is Nkapie got an injury in the 55th, 56th minute and was forced to come off before getting the damn clean sheet. I was so upset. But hopefully it's nothing serious for Nkapie because, I don't, at this current moment on his form, Miles Lewis Kelly look kind of scared at left back. I don't know if anybody else see that, but I mean, Frimpong had him on toast, They say a Bex, no. Jaja. I mean, they drew with Liverpool with no striker, no subs, because the man take off Bradley only by necessity at the end. So yeah, I don't know, man. It was just not what I wanted to see. If we draw 0-0, Alisson has a worldie. I mean, Alisson played well. Don't get me wrong; he won player of the match, but nobody was over 8 in the game. So just was an underwhelming game overall. I think that, like I said earlier when I was first starting the show, Arsenal was doing a good job early in the game of not letting Liverpool get settled. Grav couldn't get on the ball, McAllister couldn't get on the ball. They would end up trying to play a pass to like the attacking line, and that distances had to carry, kind of read it up and cut it out. And we had a few of those, and we couldn't really capitalize. I remember Timber had like 3-4 good third man run into the channel behind in between and behind the left back and the center back, and he couldn't quite get the connection and the crosses right for any of them to make them really threatening. And I just feel like with Arsenal today, in that first half, they were just there for the taking, and we just didn't have enough incision, didn't have enough risk. And we basically allowed them to kind of grow into the game. And by the time it got to about 25 minutes or so, I thought they had their best spell in the first half. About a 10-minute stretch, and then Arsenal kind of ended off the half stronger. But going into the second half, I was confident because I'm saying, okay, it's 0-0, still poised. We know we have the stronger bench. So I'm expecting all out, man-to-man all over the field in the second half. But we never really did it. And in a way it's like respect, but then again it's like, go for it, man. Like really go for it. High press them, like really high press them. We've seen Bayern come to the Emirates this season, one of the better teams at playing out under pressure. And we put them under serious pressure once we turn on the high press. And I just feel like, and maybe it was that we wanted the high press, but because there was no nine, Verts would be in that midfield with Soboslai, with Gravenberch, with McAllister. So that's four outlets now for your four defensive players around there, as opposed to just two. And I think they just did a really good job as they moved the ball up the pitch of always having that spare person in and around the play to just ease off the pressure, keep the ball. So that was to me the masterclass today because Gabriel and Saliba want to defend. But when you put Verts and Soboslai out there, ain't nobody there for them to defend. So they have to decide. Am I gonna, follow them into the midfield? Am I gonna pass them off to Zubimendi, who probably can't take them because he's probably accounting for two players where he is positioned. So I just feel like Liverpool did a good job of studying how we want to press, and they just figured out a way to ensure that they had number advantage wherever they wanted to play that football. And Arsenal it just felt like Arsenal could never get close to them or close enough to them to really damage them when they were playing out. Now, the same can be said for Arsenal in this. Yeah, that can be said for Arsenal in the second half. I think the clearest tactic I saw in the pressure that they were doing, Saliba, they basically were funneling everything to Gabriel. And they knew when Gabriel gets it, he really wants to go back to the goalkeeper, go back to Saliba. That's like the main thing he wants to do. He doesn't really want to go forward with the pass that much. So all they did really was say, okay, you don't want to go forward. Well, we're going to give you all the space in the world to come forward. And they cut off the supply line to Rice and Zubimendi, paid close attention to them. And Gyökeres, Trossard, Saka, even Timber, nobody was really able to make that extra body that they were creating against us. Nkapie was wide, kind of dealing with Frimpong. Timber was wide, kind of dealing with Gakpo. So it wasn't really there wasn't time really to get into those inverted roles without exposing. Because I think the main thing, Arteta on that left-hand side, knowing Frimpong was probably going to play down that side, he's saying, okay, Nkapie is quick. Not as quick as Frimpong, but he can, use his physicality and kind of equalize everything. Gabriel, on the other hand, I think is too slow to deal with Frimpong. Even though I'm strong, if Frimpong just decide to push the ball 30 yards and run, Gabriel might pull him hamstring. So he was guarding against that, get that isolation happening. So, but what that did was it took away from that extra person we usually put in the midfield because Timber and Nkapie, neither one of them were really doing that. So yeah, they figured it out. They said, look, if we can occupy those fullbacks, they won't have time to invert. We break down the supply to Rice and Zubi, and we funnel everything away from Saliba. And Gabriel is the man who have to play all the passes out. And that basically became us going direct because nobody's really free. And we couldn't work it out. We could not do anything to change it. I thought maybe when Skelly came on, he's comfortable doing the inverting thing. But again, Liverpool did a good job of keeping Frimpong in an area where the left back really felt like they couldn't do too much roaming. They had to stay, in that area to deal with him. And it took away from our build-up play big time. Big up time. Big time, big time, big time. Lewis Kelly, shaky brother. Yeah, he has been. Yes, Zubimendi almost gave another goal with the free kick in view. And his team did the free kick the last time too. Crazy how close it was to the same spot. Big up Conrad. Another classical again in a Super Cup. Yeah, man. A 2-1 today. Vinny our people as usual. Let's look at the data. 52-48. Look at this. First, 59-41. Second, 65-35. In my yard. Sad. Expected goals, we had a little more, 0.57 to 0.31. So neither team really causing enough of a threat. One big chance fell to us on the day. 9-8 total shots, 4 saves for Allison, none for Raya. 4 shots on target for Arsenal, none for Liverpool. Then I say it was the first time since, must say, I said 2000 and something that Liverpool hasn't registered a shot on target in the league, in a league game. That's crazy. Liverpool had 12 more final third entries. Wow. Couldn't do nothing with it though. Arsenal with 2 errors leading to shots. One was definitely Saliba, the first half, when Conor Bradley hit the post, or the crossbar, I should say. And then the pass ball and then goal. Saliba still with a 7.2, Gabriel 7.4. But Yakares is the low sixes master. But I said it would come down to the midfield, and if they had anything up top, maybe the midfield, the way it was working, can't work and function that way, and they can't overload us as much. But then for all that good midfield work, they didn't really create anything. They didn't create a big chance. So yeah, it was this nil all, man. Is kind of was a weird one. It was a weird one. And like the game looked like it was going to bubble over at times, but it just never did. Just never did. Arteta did go to his bench. Skelly had to come on first for Nkapie. And then he made a double sub on 64, taking off Gyökeres and Trossard and bringing on Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus. I think since Jesus returned from injury, it's probably the worst performance I've seen from him. So hopefully that's just a blip because he had been playing decent before this. Madueke was, trying. He did get by the byline once, played a wicked cross across the box. Nobody got on the end of. Saka, I thought, had a poor game today, to be honest. It just wasn't good enough. And Eza did get a run as well. Came on for Odegaard in the 78th. So took off his 2 sons off the field. So I guess you should give him some credit for that. It's hard to do that to your sons, I'm sure. But all fun and joke aside, that was the team used. 5 subs for us, 1 by Liverpool, and that's about it, man. That's about it. This game, though, I'm trying to figure out, like, should I be panicking about how bad it was? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not gonna panic regardless. But I will say this: it wasn't good enough. It was pretty poor, if we're being honest with ourselves. And yeah, that's about it. That's about it. All right, let me stop sharing this. So, people, we have gotten to the time of the show where we have some. Big up yourself, Big up yourself, Fitzroy. Big up, big up, big up, big up, big up. How you guys going to celebrate after? I Conrad, me not even think about that yet, man. You're gone too far. Yeah, man. Big up yourself. No, so I'm not injured. He just never played 4 games in a row, and he played today for he got about 12 minutes plus injury time, so about 17, 18 minutes. All right, so let's get the reveal going of the donkey of the week. Let's get me fully on the screen here so I can block it out. Forgive me if you're watching it on portrait mode. It may not show all the information, but of course, I'm going to read it out for you if you're listening, watching on portrait mode. So let's get And here is the table for week 21. Jagarns, Float Management, and Mass Sports World tied for third, 4 and 6 with one correct score. Mass was able to get the 2-1 Fulham game. Float Management, where are you? Okay, right there. Float Management was able to get the 2-1 Forest over West Ham. And Mass Sports World, big up yourself wherever you're there. Also got the Fulham 2-1 over Chelsea as well. Correct. So as you can see, 4 and 6 was tops for the food chain this week. But in second place, hard luck to Hot Chili in the building right now, I think. Hot Chili 4 and 6 with two correct scores. Chili got off to a great start, picking the first two games correctly. 2-1 Forest and 3-2 Bournemouth over Tottenham. So great start. Did not stay that great after that, which was the case for a lot of us, to be honest. And myself winning the best of the worst week ever. Jason Gooner himself, myself, I should say, 4 and 6 record as well. But I did predict three games correctly: 2-1 Forest, 1-1 Everton Wolves, and 2-1 Fulham over Chelsea. I also could see the future there. No, that is over. Congrats to myself. And yeah, that's how it should be, right? If you're gonna sit here and listen to me talk about the games and predict the games and blah blah blah, I should win the damn thing every now and again. So it is only right that I won this week. But no, I know people love, it's kind of sad how we are as a people. We get a lot of joy from people's mishaps. So let us give the donkey of the week as well. Sad that I have to do this, but revealing the donkey of the week for this week, and it is, I think he knew himself already. Fitzroy in the building. He's in the chat right now as Punroy, but that is Fitzroy G in the building. Sorry, sir, you went 1 and 9. I can't even say a game that you got correct, but hey, it happened to the best of us sometimes. And yeah, we just want to big up each and everybody who took part this week at good numbers after a bit of a hiatus. I was expecting maybe less people to kind of check fight this week. But yeah, thanks again. Good turnout. I had to get my couple columns going. So yeah, thanks again. You guys give yourselves a big round of applause. And let's now move right into the look at the Premier League table itself. Since we've looked at the weekly table, now let's take a look at the Premier League table, why we're here having the show in the first place. Yeah, man, it was a difficult week. Pristine, this week you went, where's Pristine? You were 3 and 7 this week, Pristine, and you got the Forest and West Ham game totally correct. But other than that, you were up and down, my friend. You went for a Villa win, Brentford Sunderland draw, you went for Everton win, you went for Chelsea win, you went for City win, you went for a Man United win. You got the Newcastle game right. That was your third game you got right. And then you messed up the 2-0 to Arsenal, just like everybody else. Tough one for you, Pristine, and many others. It looked good to you, Jason, you guys taking pics and dancing. When we were doing that today, they were doing that after the game today. I can't imagine that. Yeah, man, big up yourself, Pristine. Dancing on the tables. Yo, I don't know what Conrad talking about. All right, where's the table? Okay, there we go. All right, so let me get the Premier League table up on the screen so we can look at where we are. Like I said, there's going to be a bit of a break from the Prem. This weekend is FA Cup. And then the following weekend, the Premier League will be back. So I think that's the weekend of the what? 17th, 18th. Yeah, 17th, 18th. Yeah, so about 9 days until the next Premier League game. so the teams can have a little bit of time, for reflection, and we're going to reflect on the table right now. So Wolves, after losing forever, got a draw, a win, and a draw. So 5 points from 9 for a team that was on 2 at after 18 played. That's a really good spell for them, right? So inching their way towards something, but now it's looking very bleak as they're 14 points off safety. They have to get up above 21 points, which is 14 above them right now. But the form of Nottingham Forest gives them hope. They lost 4 straight, or before getting that victory last week against fellow strugglers West Ham, who have 1 draw in 5. Burnley have 3 draws in 5, but no wins. And they're a little bit more realistic to safety, but they're going to need a lot of help from the likes of Forest, Leeds, especially. Those teams look to be the ones not able to get far, far away from this relegation zone. Only 1 win in 5 for both of those teams. 3 draws to go with those, though, for Leeds, and that has them up into 16th now. Bournemouth on 26 points. They'll know that a good run of games, some wins after getting one in the last game, can get them right back up there, close to those European places. They haven't really run away with those from, I would say, fourth on down. It's very congested. Bournemouth 26 points, 15th. Spurs 27 points, 14th. Palace sliding down the table, 28 points in 13th. Everton 29 points in 12th. Brighton also 29 points, better goal difference in 11th. 30 points for Sunderland, they stand alone in 10th. 31 and 31, both Chelsea and Fulham. Goal difference makes the difference there. But look at the recent form. 2 losses to go with 3 draws for Chelsea. 3 wins to go with 2 draws for Fulham. So unbeaten. That's why they're up to 31 and currently just 4 points off the top 4. Man United 32 points, as well as Newcastle. Newcastle with a better goal difference by 1 goal, and that has them in 6th ahead of Man U. Man U 3 draws on the bounce, 1 loss and a win. Newcastle 3 wins on the bounce. They have come at a good time. They were struggling down in the bottom half for a while. Those 9 points coming from 23 points takes them all the way up to 6th. Brentford unbeaten in 5, 4 wins and a draw. One of the form teams in the league currently. 33 points they're up to right now. They do face Chelsea next. Should be a tough match for Chelsea. Liverpool facing Burnley next. They'll like that. Hopefully they can get a win on the belt after 3 straight draws. And there's a lot of teams collecting draws right now. Aston Villa got a draw, first in their last 5, but it came on at the week when all teams currently from 1 to 4 all got draws. Of course, 2 of them played each other, but then 2 and 3 also got a draw. So Arsenal still lead the way, 6 point gap now. Goal difference dead even with Manchester City. City do have the tiebreaker of goals 4 though. Aston Villa on 43 points, but well behind in the goal difference race, just at +9 to City, and Arsenal's +26. But yeah, 6 points. You see the matchups coming up. Manchester Derby for Manchester United next week. Next weekend, I should say. Forest will host Arsenal next time. That'll be on the 17th. And Everton will play Aston Villa. So that's the top 3 fixtures right there. Let's take a look at the stats real quick. We don't really do this all the time. Let's just see, a lot of games played by now. So let's just look at what's going on in the league. Haaland 20 goals, Thiago 16. Semenyo looks like he's headed to City, up to 10 goals now, 3rd in the league. Calvert-Lewin, resurgent season, 9 goals for Leeds. Ekitike, 8 goals. Welbeck, 8 goals. Mateta, 8 goals after missing 1,000. Bruno G, up to 8 goals, one of the highest scoring midfielders. I mean, quote unquote, center mids, definitely the highest center mid goal scorer. Krupi up to 7 goals. Wow, that was fast. Voltemada, 7 goals as well, but been stuck there for a little bit. Bruno on 8 assists, past Shirky this week with the assist to Sesko. Grealish on 6 assists, Xhaka 5, Kudus 5, Minte 4, Hartman 4, Lafay 4, Jeremy Doku 4. See total passes. All right. Van Dijk, Lewis Dunk, Van Heck up there. Clean sheets right now with 10. Second closest, Sanchez, Donnarumma, Henderson, Pickford, all with 8. Roofs and Vicario, wow, 7. Pope, Becker, Burnley, and around on the top 10. You see the goals, tackles 1, blocks, total passes. All right, wonderful. So that's just a little bit of extra stat to just look at. Now let's take a look at Man's Fantasy Premier League team. All right, so as you can see, 64 points we got this week. Beat the average, which you always want to do. Now we have Dubravka, Gabriel, Timber, Shalaba, Saka, Semenyo, Rogers, Wilson, Shirky, Thiago. Should have captain you, but we captain Haaland. So I got 24 out of the strike force plus a 9. That's 33, not bad. Semenyo, 39. Some good clean sheet bonus. Okay, not bad, not bad, not bad. But what did I do for my standings in my leagues? Now, King of Jamaica had fallen into second. Reason Boss had passed me, but I passed him back this week, so into first there. This one is a huge one, about 600-700 people in it, I think, something like that. And at one point, I was all the way up at the top. Maybe not the first place, but I know I was in the top 5. Now I've been skidding. I think the lowest I got to was about 18 or 19. But I got back up to 11th after that 64 points. But still have some work to do to catch Dry Goods FC out there with 1,300 odd. But we're gonna put in the work same way. Now I have to win my league. I have to. And this is I think this is my biggest lead out of any of the leagues. Demo, big up yourself. But you're gonna have to finish second in this one, my boss. My sports world don't have the lead right now, which is kind of upsetting me. But I did make up a lot of ground on the leader. I think 19 points difference. So I'm still down by 11. So I was down by 30. Now I'm down by 11. So we'll take that gap cut. And sports DTM, I have a 19-point lead right now. So not doing badly, people. Leading in 3 out of the 5 leagues. I'm in second in 1, 11th in 1. You see, I moved up in all the rankings around the world, which is good. I'm in the top 5,000 in the US now, top 100 and what, 50,000 in the world. So, yeah, if we can finish in the looks like I won my cup matches. I've already been knocked out of the overall cup though, which is kind of sad. But yeah, not bad at all. Now let's check the draft teams. See how those teams did this week. I think in the head-to-head game that I played, I'm pretty sure I held the L because I've been copying that league and I needed the clean sheet from him. But he came off early. So yeah, that hurt a lot. I want this open. Try this one more time. Well, it looks like the draft league not working with me, people. I don't know why. But you get the drift, people. Manzo's falling apart a little bit there. Missed a deadline or two. And yeah, had to just get it together this week and make sure say people know say yo, man, I just give up so easy, you know. Channel star, man, I have a big lead. Hold the L. Third. Keller gave me 13 and Collins gave me 13. And Wilson 9. And then we did start Mane and Van Dyke. Jeez. I get 100 in a draft. Well, people, want to say anything you want to talk about before we lock up the show for the night? Talk about all the games. Talk a little FPL. talked about the prediction champ and donkey once again. Hard luck to my brethren Fitzroy G. This week it was your week to be the hee-haw donkey of the week. But I know you'll be back and you'll redeem yourself. I'm going to try to hold on to the prediction title when we do match week 22's predictions. That will be the weekend of the 17th, like I said before. I think that's MLK weekend. Yeah, MLK is Monday the 19th. So, yeah, we'll be back to do a preview show for that. Like I said earlier, while the stream was going on, or towards the end, anybody that's looking for some Jamaica content, yeah, FA Cup. Thank you, Apache. Me, they want to show the games at least and just say who me think I go win and them something there. So thanks for saying that. Well, I'm gonna grab this. Yeah, respect Apache because I did want to mention that before we cut. All right, so basically, let's see, FA Cup. All right, so FA Cup round 3. Oh, excuse me. So actually, it starts tomorrow. So I have what, 4 games tomorrow. Interesting. I never even realized game I play tomorrow. Never even realized a game I play tomorrow. So let's see. MK Dons and Oxford. So we're not even a hide with bias, people. Oxford was saying want a cup run for Greg D. So Oxford to beat MK Dons away from home. Port Vale and Fleetwood. Jeez. Damn. Let's see. Port Vale, John Brady. Where's Port Vale in the league? Last of all, last. My word. Port Vale look like League Two them thing there. So this might be all they have to play for, people have a factor that in. Fleetwood. Them already in League Two. Right around mid-table. Ooh, Port Vale have nothing to play for. This alone, them might throw everything to this. So I say Port Vale, one little thing them can hold on to before them start play Fleetwood next season. Preston Wigan, I'm gonna go with a Preston win. But why? So Wigan drop down to League One. But happens fast, Yeah, I'm gonna go with a Preston win. They're flying pretty high in the champ. I think they're gonna be formidable. They're at home, so yeah, I'll say Preston win. Next game, Wrexham and Forest. Ooh, damn! This have Wrexham all over it, man, to win, man. The fairy tale, knock out a PL team. Yo, man, I'll kill the fairy tale. Forest to get through. Leicester and Cheltenham. Bobby, come up. Leicester, Everton, Sunderland. I'm gonna go Everton. Macclesfield FC versus Palace. I'm gonna go Palace, even though Macclesfield could. That's one of them places where you never know. Wolves, Shrewsbury. I think Wolves getting the FA Cup game at a good time. Them actually feeling a bit of confidence. So I'll give it to them. Boreham and Burton. I'm gonna say Burton takes it. Burnley, Millwall. I'm gonna go Millwall to knock out Burnley. Doncaster, Southampton. I'm gonna go with Southampton. Fulham, Middlesbrough. Fulham will take it. Ipswich, Blackpool. I'm gonna go Blackpool. Man City, Exeter. I'm going to go City. Newcastle, Bournemouth. Wow, what a bad draw for both teams. I'm going to say Newcastle at home will take it. Salford, Swindon. I'll go with Swindon. Sheffield Wednesday, Brentford. Wednesdays, they're not ready. Interesting, like the Jamaican should play. I think Pinnock probably will start this game against potentially Kadamartri or Jamal Lowe. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Brentford, even though it's away. Stoke and Coventry. That's a tough one. Two teams doing decent in the championship. Coventry a little better than them in the championship. But I'm gonna go with the home team, Stoke, to get the win, knock Coventry out. Actually, no, I lied. Coventry had a good cup run. Was it last year? Yeah, I think Coventry win this game against Stoke. Sorry. Bristol City, Watford. I'll go Bristol City, Cambridge, Birmingham. I think Birmingham go to Cambridge and get the job done. Grimsby, they continue what they did to Manu. Wait, was it this competition they did that in? I don't think that was this competition. I think it was the EFL Cup. Yeah, it was the EFL Cup. Hey, feeling away, Grimsby make a good run in the EFL Cup, Remember? All right, where were they? Grimsby, all right. Tottenham, Aston Villa, I'm going to go Aston Villa. Charlton, Chelsea, I'm going to go Chelsea, reluctantly. Derby, Leeds, I'm going to go Derby, even though they're garbage. Pompey, Arsenal, but barely. Tight game. Hull, Blackburn, I go home team. Norwich, Walsall, Norwich, Sheffield United, and Mansfield. I think that's John Russell new club. I'm pretty sure. I'll go Sheffield United, Swansea, West Brom. I'll go West Brom, West Ham, QPR. Ooh, no burial, no party. West Ham, Man United, Brighton, most definitely Brighton. Liverpool, Barnsley. I will go with Liverpool. So that's it. So Liverpool actually play on Monday, right? And then after this weekend, we play Sunday, then we play Wednesday. First leg of the Carabao against our EFL Cup against Chelsea. Yeah, so that's about it. FA Cup in the bag. We talk about that. It's a Sunderland are gonna beat Everton. We shall see. Remember, Sunderland are no players, man. The whole of them there African. We say, just get it, Jano, Joe. I say it go sometime. Big up yourself. A happy New Year to you as well, Joseph. Big up. Hope you never had to travel too much for the holiday and just, you know, stay grounded for a little time. Exquisite with another question. Player that was an impressive and disappointing performer this week. Okay, I like that. I like that DJ gig. So impressive performer this week for me. Think about all of the game them. Impressive performer this week to me. Let me see. Let me see. Who shall it be? Who shall it be now? Um, Most impressive player. I would say the most impressive player this week, just because like every single thing that the team did, him was involved in the maddest game of the week. I would say Bruno G was probably the most impressive player. I think he had what, a penalty. I don't know if he was given. I know in fantasy he got the assist for the last goal because he sent the ball in the box. Definitely had an assist for the Joe Linton goal. So I think he had a goal, two assists in the 4-3. So I would say him. And then most disappointing, um, most disappointing player this week, maybe. That's a tough one, you know. Most disappointing, tough this player this week. I want to pick somebody from Arsenal just because they were so bad in the second half, especially. Um, maybe Saka, you know. Maybe Saka. I was expecting more from Saka today. But I mean, you wouldn't know that Kirk has been garbage all season based on today. So yeah, probably Saka. Probably Saka. Yeah, so impressive, Bruno G. Disappointing, Saka. Yeah. Big up, big up, big up. Love that, love that. I know you work hard, brother. You're always on the go. So I'm glad they get for this, you know? Take a little time. Yeah, man, I had a great holiday, brother. Great holiday. Wouldn't just want to restart it. That's all. That's the only regret. Yeah, man, Arsenal most disappointing. Yep. It's the truth. People, I am an Arsenal fan. My name is Jason Gooner. You would expect me to just be so biased and deluded. But hopefully you guys realize whether we win, lose, draw, I'm still going to analyze the game fair. Because trust me, today was very disappointing. I give Slatim credit. I give Arteta another time to go and study because you need to find the answers to the tests and you never had them today. So look, you had one of the answers, and that was to make sure that we don't concede a goal. So it's all is not terrible, but we need more in the attacking side of things, much more. All right, people. My name is Jason Guna. This is Jason Guna TV. You guys enjoy the weekend, watch a lot of football like I will, and make sure that if you're a subscriber to this channel, you have the bell notifications turned on because you never know when I'll pop up with a video about your favorite topic when it comes on to football. Well, I wouldn't say favorite, but some of you want to hear me talk about the Jamaican football space as well. So I'm working on a video now based on the information we got from the press conference and also upcoming games. And there's a little bit to talk about right now. So we'll run out with our live content, interactive, maybe have a panel, maybe we're not sure yet. So I'm not gonna promise that, but yeah, we're gonna work on something for the weekend to bring you guys some content where that is concerned. And yeah, man. Until then, my name is Jason Guna. This is Jason Guna TV. Come on, you Gunas, do better. Arteta.